What if I told you that the most profound spiritual experiences aren't found in temples or meditation cushions, but within the sacred fire of your own sexual energy? What if the key to enlightenment has been pulsing through your body all along, waiting to be awakened? Today, we're diving into one of the most forbidden, yet sacred teachings in spiritual history: the connection between sexual energy and divine consciousness. This isn't about physical pleasure alone. It's about transmuting the raw creative force within you into pure spiritual light. For thousands of years, mystics, tantrics, and spiritual masters have guarded the secret. Your sexual energy is the same energy that can catapult you into the highest states of consciousness. The ancient Sanskrit texts call it Kundalini, the serpent goddess coiled at the base of your spine, waiting to rise and transform your entire being. But here's what most people don't understand. When this sacred energy awakens and travels through your body, it doesn't just create physical sensations. It creates what I call orgasms of light. Transcendent experiences that merge the physical, emotional, and spiritual into one explosive moment of divine connection. If you've ever felt that your spiritual practice was missing something vital, if you've sensed there's a deeper level of awakening available to you, then this video will change everything. We're about to explore the secret journey of sexual energy through the Kundalini Serpent. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your own energy the same way again. Before we begin this sacred journey together, hit that like button if you're ready to explore the deepest mysteries of consciousness. And don't forget to subscribe for more transformative spiritual content. Your soul is calling you to remember this ancient wisdom. You've been lied to about sexual energy your entire life. Not intentionally, perhaps, but the truth has been hidden from you nonetheless. Society has taught you that sexual energy is something to be ashamed of, controlled, or used purely for physical gratification. But what if I told you that this same energy, this primal creative force, is actually the most direct pathway to God consciousness? The ancient sages knew something we've forgotten. Sexual energy isn't separate from spiritual energy. It is spiritual energy in its rawest, most powerful form. Think about it. Where does life itself come from? From the union of sexual energies. Where does creativity flow from? From the same sacred source. Where does your deepest passion and aliveness emerge? Again, from this divine fire within you. In Sanskrit, this energy is called Ojas, the vital essence that fuels not just physical life, but spiritual evolution. When a master reaches enlightenment, they're not transcending their sexual energy. They're mastering it, refining it, and channeling it toward divine union. Here's the profound truth most spiritual seekers miss. Every time you feel sexual arousal, you're actually experiencing a preview of cosmic consciousness. That electricity running through your body, that's the same energy that mystics spend decades trying to awaken through meditation and prayer. You have direct access to it right now. But here's where most people go wrong. They either suppress this energy out of shame, or they discharge it without awareness, missing the incredible opportunity for spiritual transformation. It's like having a Ferrari and using it only to drive to the grocery store. You're wasting immense potential. The Taoist masters understood this perfectly. They called sexual energy Jing, the foundational energy that, when properly cultivated, becomes Shen, pure spiritual consciousness. They discovered that by working consciously with sexual energy, They could literally transform their entire being, achieving states of awareness that seemed impossible. This isn't about becoming celibate or suppressing your desires. It's about becoming conscious of the divine fire within you and learning to work with it as the spiritual fuel it truly is. When you understand that your sexual energy is sacred energy, everything changes. Your relationships deepen. Your creativity explodes. Your spiritual practice becomes electrified with power. The question isn't whether you have this energy. You absolutely do. The question is, will you continue to unconsciously waste it, or will you learn to harness it for the spiritual transformation you've been seeking? Picture a serpent of pure light, coiled 3.5 times at the base of your spine, sleeping peacefully until the moment of awakening. This isn't mythology. This is the most accurate metaphor ancient mystics could find to describe the incredible phenomenon of Kundalini energy. But why a serpent? Because like a snake, this energy moves in waves, undulating through your body with intelligence and purpose. It's not random. It's guided by an ancient wisdom that knows exactly where to go and what to heal along its journey upward. The Kundalini serpent represents the dormant, creative power within every human being. When she sleeps, you live from your ordinary consciousness, thinking, worrying, caught up in daily dramas. But when she awakens, everything changes. You begin to remember who you truly are beyond the limitations of your ego. Here's what's fascinating. This serpent energy is inherently sexual in nature. The Sanskrit word Kundalini literally means coiled one, and she's often depicted as a goddess in deep union with divine consciousness. This isn't coincidental. Your sexual energy is Kundalini energy in its most accessible form. Think about what happens during intense sexual arousal. Your breathing changes, your consciousness shifts, you become fully present in your body. Energy starts moving in ways you can't control with your mind. You feel waves of sensation traveling through your entire being. This is exactly what happens during a Kundalini awakening, but amplified and directed towards spiritual realization. The ancient tantric masters discovered that by working consciously with sexual energy, they could deliberately awaken this serpent power. They understood that the same energy that creates physical pleasure could be refined and elevated to create spiritual ecstasy, what they called divine orgasms, or experiences of unity consciousness. But here's the crucial point. When Kundalini awakens, she doesn't just bring pleasure, she brings transformation. She burns through old patterns, dissolves emotional blockages, and opens your consciousness to dimensions of reality you never knew existed. This is why the awakening can feel so intense. You're literally being rewired at the deepest level. The serpent knows her path. She rises from the base of your spine where your sexual energy originates and travels upward through your chakras like a divine flame. Each energy center she touches becomes activated, purified, and aligned with your highest potential. What most people don't realize is that this serpent goddess is incredibly intelligent. She knows exactly what you need for your spiritual evolution. She'll show you visions, download insights, and create experiences that shatter your limited self-concept. She's not just energy, she's consciousness itself, awakening to its own divine nature. The question is, are you ready to meet her? Imagine your body as a sacred temple with 7 doorways of light, each one waiting to be opened by the rising serpent of sexual energy. This isn't just beautiful imagery. This is the actual map of how divine consciousness moves through your physical form, transforming everything it touches. When sexual energy begins its journey upward, it doesn't randomly flow through your body. It follows an ancient pathway, stopping at each chakra to unlock specific gifts of consciousness. Each energy center becomes a gateway to deeper spiritual realization, and the experience at each level is nothing short of ecstatic. At the root chakra, where the serpent first stirs, sexual energy carries the raw power of survival and creation. When awakened here, you feel deeply grounded, alive, and connected to your primal essence. This is where you reclaim your right to exist fully in your body without shame or fear. As the energy rises to the sacral chakra, it transforms into pure creative force. Here, sexual energy becomes the source of artistic inspiration, emotional depth, and passionate connection with others. This is where you experience the ecstasy of creating, whether that's art, love, or new realities. Moving to the solar plexus, sexual energy becomes personal power and confidence. The fire in your belly ignites, burning away self-doubt and victim consciousness. You feel unstoppable, radiant, and capable of manifesting your deepest desires. This is where sexual energy becomes the fuel for achieving your life's purpose. At the heart chakra, something magical happens. Sexual energy transforms into pure love. Not just romantic love, but cosmic love that embraces all of existence. Your heart opens so wide that you feel connected to every living being. The orgasmic waves you feel here aren't just physical. They're waves of divine love flowing through your entire being. As energy reaches the throat chakra, it becomes the power of truth and authentic expression. You find your voice in ways you never imagined possible. The sounds you make during awakening aren't just moans of pleasure. They're sacred mantras, spontaneous expressions of divine consciousness speaking through you. The third eye chakra is where sexual energy becomes pure insight and psychic awareness. The waves of energy moving through this center create visions, download divine knowledge, and open portals to higher dimensions. This is where you experience what mystics call cosmic orgasms, moments where your individual consciousness dissolves into universal awareness. Finally, at the crown chakra, sexual energy completes its journey by merging with divine consciousness itself. This is the ultimate orgasm of light, a complete dissolution of self into pure awareness, where you experience your true nature as infinite consciousness having a human experience. What's incredible is that this entire journey can happen in moments during a conscious sexual experience, or it can unfold over years of spiritual practice. The key is learning to guide this energy with awareness and intention rather than simply letting it discharge at the physical level. Now we come to the most practical part of our journey: how to actually work with this sacred energy. The ancient masters didn't just theorize about sexual energy transmutation. They developed precise techniques you can use today to transform physical pleasure into spiritual awakening. The first secret is breath. Your breath is the bridge between your physical body and your spiritual consciousness. When sexual energy begins to build, most people breathe shallowly or hold their breath entirely, trapping the energy at the physical level. But when you breathe deeply and consciously, you create a pathway for that energy to rise. Here's a powerful technique the Taoist masters used. As you feel sexual energy building, Instead of breathing into your chest, breathe deep into your belly. Then, on the exhale, imagine drawing that energy up your spine toward your heart. With each breath, you're literally moving sexual energy from your genitals to your spiritual centers. The second key is sound. Sacred sound has been used for thousands of years to move energy through the body during moments of sexual arousal. Don't suppress the natural sounds that want to emerge. Instead, use your voice intentionally. Long, low tones help move energy up from your root chakra. Higher, more melodic sounds activate your heart and throat centers. Ancient tantric practitioners discovered that specific vowel sounds correspond to different chakras: lam for the root, vam for the sacral, ram for the solar plexus, yam for the heart, ham for the throat, om for the third eye, and silence for the crown. The third technique is visualization. Your sexual energy follows your attention like a river follows its banks. Instead of focusing solely on physical sensations, visualize golden light rising from your sexual center up through your spine. See this light purifying each chakra as it passes through, transforming from red at the root to violet at the crown. Here's an advanced practice. When you feel yourself approaching orgasm, instead of surrendering to the physical release, pause and redirect the energy upward. Breathe deeply. Pull up your pelvic floor muscles and visualize the energy shooting up your spine like a fountain of light. This creates what tantric masters call a valley orgasm, waves of pleasure that build and sustain rather than peak and crash. The fourth secret is conscious touch. Your hands are powerful energy transmitters. When you touch yourself or a partner, you're not just creating physical sensations, you're moving life force energy. Touch with intention, imagining light flowing through your hands and awakening each area of the body you contact. But here's the most important technique of all: presence. Sexual energy transmutation isn't about complex practices or rigid techniques. It's about being fully present with whatever is arising in your body. When you're completely here, completely aware, sexual energy naturally begins to refine itself into spiritual consciousness. The masters knew that every moment of sexual arousal is a doorway to the divine. The question isn't whether you have access to this transformative energy. You do. The question is whether you'll remain unconscious and waste it, or become conscious and use it for the spiritual evolution you've been seeking. These aren't just techniques. They're keys to unlocking the deepest mysteries of consciousness through the sacred vehicle of your own sexual energy. We've reached the summit of our journey, the place where sexual energy and spiritual consciousness merge into one transcendent experience. This is where the ancient promise of orgasms of light becomes your living reality. What exactly is a spiritual orgasm? It's when the waves of sexual energy don't just create physical pleasure. They create a complete dissolution of your separate self into pure consciousness. Your body becomes a temple of light. Your breath becomes the breath of the universe, and your awareness expands beyond all boundaries. The ancient tantric masters called this Sahaja Samadhi, the natural state of enlightenment that can be accessed through conscious sexuality. In this state, you're not just having pleasure, you're experiencing yourself as the source of all pleasure, the consciousness from which all ecstasy emerges. Here's what happens during a true spiritual orgasm. As the energy builds, and you guide it upward through your chakras, something extraordinary occurs. Instead of the energy discharging outward through your genitals, it implodes inward, creating a cascade of light that floods your entire nervous system. Your individual consciousness dissolves into cosmic awareness. In this moment, you're not a person having a sexual experience. You're the universe experiencing itself through a human body. Time stops. The boundaries between self and other disappear, and you become one with the divine creative force that birthed all existence. This isn't just mystical poetry. This is a reproducible state of consciousness that masters throughout history have achieved. The Sufi mystics described it as fana, the complete annihilation of self in divine love. The Hindu tantrics called it Samadhi through sexuality. The Taoist immortals knew it as the great union of yin and yang energies. But here's the profound truth. Once you experience this level of consciousness through sexual energy, you realize that this same state is available to you at all times. The orgasm of light isn't just a sexual experience. It's your natural state of being when you're fully aligned with your divine nature. The key to mastering this state is understanding that it's not about technique. It's about surrender. When you completely let go of controlling the experience and allow yourself to be moved by the serpent goddess within you, she takes you to places your mind could never imagine. This is why the ancients considered conscious sexuality to be the fastest path to enlightenment. Through sexual energy, you can access in minutes what might take years to achieve through meditation alone. You're working with the most powerful force in the universe, the same energy that creates galaxies and gives birth to stars. When you reach this level of mastery, every sexual experience becomes a form of prayer. Every orgasm becomes a communion with the divine, and every moment of pleasure becomes a recognition of your own infinite nature. The serpent goddess has completed her journey. She has risen from the depths of your physical being to the heights of your spiritual consciousness, transforming everything in her path. You are no longer the person who began this journey. You are awakened consciousness itself, remembering its true nature through the sacred vehicle of sexual energy. This is your birthright. This is your destiny. This is the secret that has been waiting within you all along. The journey we've taken together today isn't just intellectual understanding. It's a roadmap to the most profound transformation available to human consciousness. You now possess the ancient keys that masters have guarded for millennia. The knowledge that your sexual energy is the fastest, most direct pathway to divine realization. But knowledge without practice is just philosophy. The real transformation begins when you start working consciously with the sacred fire within you. Remember, every moment of sexual arousal is an invitation from the divine. Every breath you take during pleasure is an opportunity to refine raw energy into pure light. Every orgasm can become a doorway to cosmic consciousness. Here are your practical next steps. First, begin incorporating conscious breathing into your intimate moments. Let your breath be the bridge that carries sexual energy from your body to your soul. Second, start using sound to guide energy upward through your chakras. Your voice is a powerful tool for transformation. Third, practice presence. Be fully here with whatever sensations arise, without judgment or agenda. Most importantly, approach this work with reverence and patience. The Kundalini Serpent awakens in her own time, according to her own wisdom. Trust the process, honor the journey, and remember that every step forward on this path is a step toward remembering who you truly are. The ancient masters left us this incredible gift, the understanding that we don't need to choose between spiritual evolution and sexual fulfillment. They are one and the same journey expressed through different doorways of consciousness. Your body is a temple. Your sexual energy is sacred. Your pleasure is divine. And your orgasms can literally become explosions of light that illuminate the deepest mysteries of existence. If this video has awakened something within you, if you feel the Serpent Goddess stirring in recognition of these truths, then hit that like button and let me know in the comments what resonated most deeply. Share this video with others who are ready for this level of spiritual awakening. Subscribe for more transformative content that bridges the gap between ancient wisdom and modern awakening. Your spiritual evolution matters, and I'm honored to be part of your journey. The Serpent Goddess is calling. The path of light is open. Your transformation awaits.